My name is Jess. I'm a rising senior at Cherokee, and this is my story. Starting out, I grew up in a very not fantastic household. Both of my parents were addicts and waged war on themselves. My dad's weapon of choice was cocaine. My mom's was alcohol and prescription drugs. At the age of 3, my brother and I were sent to live with a foster family for about 9 months, where we didn't see them very much. After they went through some rehab, my brother and I were sent back to live with them. We went through some times with them that were not so great, and some times that were pretty great. And in, I think, 2008, my parents got a divorce, and things kind of went downhill from there. My dad stayed clean, but my mom didn't. She really liked drugs and alcohol a lot more than she liked my brother and I. So from that point on, when we were living with her, we were hiding a secret for her. We were hiding her addiction. We grew up feeling guilty for her downfalls and didn't have any friends because we couldn't bring anybody around. Through all of this, my stronghold was my brothers and sisters that were going through the same thing, or that had already gone through that with my parents before. And we all have battled anxiety and depression pretty seriously. So back in 2017, towards the end of the year, the depression really hit an all-time low. I was in a place where I didn't love myself, didn't love the Lord, and I just didn't want to be here anymore. I remember the last night of the last football game for Cherokee High School, where I just remember sitting in my car after the game and thinking to myself, would it be easier if I weren't here? And I broke down because I felt bad for thinking those things. So I went home, and the next morning I talked to my dad about it, and once again breaking down in front of him, feeling guilty for feeling those things about his daughter, and feeling guilty with the Lord for feeling those things about his creation. So my dad said that we would go to the doctor and get some treatment that next Monday. And so through all this, I like to think that the Lord has a sense of humor, because the Sunday before we were supposed to go to the doctor, I went for a little ride in my car, and about 10 o'clock at night, my tire blew out, and I hit a median wall. It knocked me out, and the ambulance arrived, brought me to the hospital. I woke up 2 hours later, not knowing what happened, and the only thing that I was told was that the doctors called what's known as a 1013 in the medical field, which is a 72-hour mandatory hold on patients who are thought to have want to harm themselves. So I spent the next week in the hospital under psychiatric watch, and the only thing that I had with me that entire week was the Bible that my mom had given me on Sunday morning at church. So I really just dove into the Word the entire week and spent time with the Lord. I learned a lot about myself and different people's realities. When I got out, I didn't change right away. It wasn't something too noticeable, but I knew that I was still struggling with this mental illness, depression, and anxiety. So for a whole month, it was just me and my dad. And I spent time with him, and I spent time learning to be still in the presence of the Lord. I do know that I can rejoice in those moments. And although that night was an attempt at my life, I thank God that He placed those trials in my path because it was refining and it made me who I am. And today I know the Lord, and I'll tell you that I am thankful for my testimony, because I have realized that the only purpose of testimony is not so that the Lord can judge you or others can judge you. The only thing that matters is right here in the condition of your heart right now. But we can use our testimonies to share with other people and hopefully speak to them and let them know that they are not alone. And I'll tell you right now that the biggest, best decision you will ever make in your entire life is to follow the Lord. That's my story.